Good morning, students. Our today's topic is classification of markets or types of markets. Here, market means it is a place where goods and services are exchanged by both farmers or producers and to the ultimate consumers. And their values are determined in terms of money prices. Here in markets, there are various elements are involved: goods and services, buyers and sellers, and area also considered. And in ancient times, barter system existed in an economy. Goods are exchanged for goods. But with the evolution of money in modern days, goods are exchanged for money. So monetary phenomenon played a vital role in this context. Here, based on time, area, competition, and transactions, nature of the commodity or nature of transactions, and government interventions, markets are classified into various categories. Before going to that, here time element is more important in any market. So time element introduced by Alfred Marshall. Based on time, markets are classified into various categories: very short period or short period, long period, and very long period. Here, whatever may be the time period, demand and supply played a vital role based on various categories of time periods that we will discuss one by one with PPT. The word market is derived from the Latin word marketus, which means mercantile or trade or a place where business is conducted. Here, the word market has been widely used and in different ways. Market is a place or a building where commodities are bought and sold. Example for this, supermarket. And potential buyers and sellers of a product is also market. Example, wheat market, cotton market. Potential buyers and sellers of a country. Example, Indian market, Asian market, or Dubai market, etc. An organization which provides facilities for exchange of commodities. Example, Bombay Stock Exchange, National Stock Exchange. Next, market is also used to mean a phase or a course of commercial activity. Where commercial activities are done, that is a dull market or a bright market during different phases, like prosperity phase or boom phase or depression phase, etc. And some other terms are also used for describing markets in India. Example, hats, sandys, bazaars, etc. Here, some various definitions given by economists. According to Gupta, market means a social institution which performs activities and provides facilities for exchanging commodities between buyers and sellers. Next definition given by Hibbard, economically interpreted, the term market refers not to a place but to a commodity or commodities, and buyers and sellers are in free intercourse with one another. So these definitions mainly focused on goods and services are exchanged between buyers and sellers. Place is not the criteria. Components of markets. There are various components of market have the existence of a good or commodity for transaction purpose, the existence of buyers and sellers, business relationship or free intercourse between buyers and sellers, and place also considered here. Demarcation of area like place, region, country, or the entire world. These are the various components of market. Well, students, I think you have already an idea about classification or types of markets, right? We can classify the markets based on number of commodities, market area, or based on time, based on volume, uh, and based on competition. There are various categories of markets are visible. Let us focus on first point on the basis of number of commodities. Here we can classify the markets based on number of commodities into two categories: general markets and specialized markets. In general markets, all types of goods are sold, from food grains to textile goods, and so on, like um, other necessaries, electrical goods, etc. Let us take one example in Rajahmundry, Best Price. There we can find many goods from food grains to electrical goods, textiles, etc., textile goods, etc. Like that, Best Price, Spencer's, and many more general markets are there. And second point, specialized markets. Specialized market deals with specific commodity. Specific commodity in the sense, for example, if vegetables are sold in a market, we can call it as vegetable market. Like that, wool, cotton, jute, or fish, these are all called wool market, cotton market, jute market, fish market, and so on. These are specialized markets. In Rajahmundry, onion markets or market yard, these are all specialized markets. And coming down to second point, on the basis of market area, we can classify the markets into four categories: local markets, regional markets, national markets, and international markets. Local markets means here a market in which buying and selling activities are confined among the buyers and sellers within the village or nearby villages. Or the market is limited to some group of villages. Generally, in these village markets, we can find perishable commodities. Example, vegetables, fruits, fish, milk, etc. These varieties of goods are traded in village markets. Second point, regional markets. Regional markets means here buying and selling activities are extended to regional level only. Example, within the state, we can take food grains. Food grains are traded within the state or within the region. National markets. Here, national markets in the sense in which buyers and sellers are confined to the entire nation. Example, food grains, clothes, and domestic products, etc. World market or international markets. A market in which the buyers and sellers are extended over the entire world. These are the largest markets from the area point of view, right? From area point of view, these are the largest markets. In these markets, goods or commodities have worldwide demand and supply. Example, coffee, machinery, gold, silver, etc. Recently, even textiles, rice, wheat, sugar, cut flowers, or many processed products like uh, mango pulp, orange pulp, etc. Processed products, fruits, etc. have international markets. Have international market. Coming down to next point on the basis of location. So based on location, we can classify the markets into four categories: village markets, primary wholesale markets, secondary wholesale markets, terminal markets, and seaboard markets. So village markets here, the area of operation, these markets is confined to small villages or a group of villages, and here goods and services are traded between buyers and sellers in these villages, and these village markets may be regular or occasional in their operation. For example, we may find santas in villages. Santa may be regular basis or once in 15 days in their operation. Second point, primary wholesale markets. These markets are generally located in big cities, towns or taluk headquarters or mandal headquarters. And all types of agricultural goods or commodities are pooled here and traded between producers and traders. Mainly, there are two types of farm persons we can find: producers and traders. Third point, secondary wholesale markets. Here, these markets are found generally in district headquarters and dealing with agriculture commodities like rice, pulses, oil seeds, chilies, etc. And there are two main participants in these markets: wholesalers and village traders. Here, bulk of commodities from primary wholesale markets or village markets to secondary wholesale markets. And we can find many persons in these markets: commission agents, brokers, hamalis, weighmen, working in these market areas. For example, we can take chili market. In Guntur, chili market is the best example. Uh, Fourth one, terminal markets. These markets are located in big cities or state capitals, seaports, etc. These are well organized markets and controlled by the government. And here, consumers, wholesalers, and market agents are seen in these markets. And these markets are situated in big cities like Chennai, Bangalore, Mumbai, etc. In Mumbai, we can take one example, that is gold market. Next point, seaboard. Seaboard markets. These are primarily meant for exports and imports of commodities. And here, standardized and graded commodities are traded or transacted. These markets are located in Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, Visakhapatnam, etc., wherever seaports are available. Next point, on the basis of time. Here, based on time, we can classify the markets into three categories: short period, long period, secular, or very long period markets. Here, short period markets. In short period, demand played a vital role than supply. Supply is fixed. The markets which are held only for a few hours in a day are called short period market. Here the supply of a commodity is fixed. Supply cannot be changed within short period. Demand played a vital role. But price variation is based on demand for a commodity. Price changes based on demand for a commodity. For example, fish market, vegetable market, etc. And what is the shape of the curve, supply curve? Here, supply is zero elastic. Let us take one figure. For example, on x-axis, agricultural output, on y-axis, prices of agriculture commodity. Here, supply is fixed. So, supply is fixed means zero elastic, vertical to y-axis. Vertical to y-axis. Next, long period market. Long period market, commodities like food grains, oil seeds can be stored for some time. And here, prices are determined by both demand and supply. And secular period or secular market or very long period market. These are permanent markets. Manufactured goods, machineries are transacted in these markets. Generally, these are well organized markets and they deal with export and import transactions. These are very long period or secular markets. Here, supply and demand played a vital role. Based on volume of business, we can classify the markets into two categories: wholesale markets and retail markets. Wholesale markets, here, when large quantities of commodities are bought and sold in the market among the traders. Example, wholesale markets generally uh, Onion Market or Venkateshwara Market in Rajahmundry. Retail markets. These markets in which retailers sell commodities to the consumer in small quantities as per their requirements. Here we can find producers, retailers and consumers in these markets. And coming down to next point, on the basis of nature of transactions. Here there are two categories: cash markets or spot markets and forward markets. Cash markets, if these markets are involved in cash transactions in buying and selling of the commodities, such markets are called cash markets or spot markets. Spot markets. Forward markets. Forward markets here, these are the markets where future sales and purchase of commodities takes place at the current time. This process is also called hedging. Here, forward markets, for example, uh, fuel, volatile aviation fuel prices. Uh, for example, say it buys the oil at $55 per barrel for delivery in 6 months. That price is fixed. Suppose the price might decline to some $50. So the airline will take a hit because it is committed to buying at the hedged price at $55 per barrel. But the price may also reach or touches to $80, in which case the airline has made a good move by hedging it by hedging it has lowered uncertainty and reduced its costs. So here these markets are involved in future sales and purchase of commodities takes place at the current time. This is called hedging markets, hedging or forward markets. And coming down to government intervention, based on government intervention, the markets again classified into regulated markets and unregulated markets. Regulated markets are generally administered by the government because market committees administered or governed regulated markets. And the government from time to time makes marketing acts also. Here, marketing costs, example, transportation costs, storage facilities, processing facilities, etc. That is called marketing costs. Margins, fees, etc. are standardized. Prices are displayed through various mass media like TV, newspapers, etc. These are all regulated markets. Unregulated markets means in this market, regulated markets we can take Raitu Bazaars. Raitu Bazaars also best example for regulated markets. Unregulated markets. In this market, business is conducted without any supervision or administration. Here there is absence of rules and regulations.
Yes.
The middlemen may exploit the farmers and the consumers to the maximum extent by taking huge or high margins. On the basis of nature of commodity, markets are again classified into two categories: commodity markets, capital markets. Commodity markets, here market is a place where buying and selling of commodities at one place is considered as commodity markets. Example, cotton market, wheat market, chili market, cattle market, bullion market, etc. Here next point, capital markets. Capital markets are those markets in which shares, securities, bonds or debentures are being purchased and sold in the market. Example, share markets, money markets are the specific examples for capital markets. Let us take another example for capital markets. BSE, NSE, Bombay Stock Exchange located in Mumbai, and the National Stock Exchange that is also located in Mumbai. These are the examples for capital markets. And next point, on the basis of competition. Based on competition, we can also classify the markets into various categories. Here, markets are mainly classified into two categories based on competition: perfect competitive markets and imperfect competitive markets. If the market is perfect, that is perfect market. In perfect market, let us take one model, that is perfect competition. In perfect competition, there are various features like many number of buyers and sellers, homogeneous product, no control over price, uniform price, and free entry and free exit, no advertisement costs, and free mobility of factors of production. These are various features in perfect competition. For perfect competition, one best example, that is agricultural commodities or farm commodities. Here in perfect competition, what is the shape of the curve AR and MR, average revenue and marginal revenue? Here AR and MR are horizontal parallel to x-axis because same price imposed for all buyers. So AR and MR is always horizontal parallel to x-axis in perfect competition. And next category, imperfect competitive market. Imperfect competitive market means when the market is imperfect, that is imperfect competitive market. Generally, features are different prices for different customers and discriminative product, etc. Under imperfect competitive markets, again classified into various categories. That is monopoly, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and oligopoly again classified into two categories, pure and differential, and monopsony, bilateral monopoly. These markets are very important for any competitive exams. So monopoly means mono means single, poly means seller, means only one seller or single seller in the market is one of the important feature for monopoly. And no close substitutes, control over price, monopolist always controlling the price. Suppose he want to increase the price, he will sell less quantity, or decrease the price, he will sell more quantity. So AR and MR always slopes downwards from left to right. Average revenue and marginal revenue always slopes downwards from left to right. AR always lies above MR. This is very important one. Example for monopoly, railways is the best example for monopoly. Postal, electricity, etc. And next market, monopolistic competition. In monopolistic competition, many sellers and buyers, differentiated product, and some control over price, but price discrimination prevails under monopolistic market. Example, retail trade. Retail trade is the best example for monopolistic competition. Pure oligopoly. Under pure oligopoly, oligopoly means few sellers in the market. Oligo means few, poly means sellers. Few sellers in the market. So under pure oligopoly, example, steel, chemicals, cement, etc. What are the features here? Here, few sellers, homogeneous product, some control over price. Okay. Differential oligopoly, example, automobiles, computers. Right? Here under oligopoly, again classified into two categories, collusive oligopoly models and non-collusive oligopoly models. Collusive oligopoly models, best example, cartel. Cartel is the best example for collusive oligopoly models. Under cartel, cartel follows some common policies relating to prices, output, sales, and profit maximization. It is an association of independent firms within the same industry. And next one, non-collusive models. Here under non-collusive models, they will not collude with each other, but all non-collusive models except kink demand curve analysis, remaining all models follows in the duopoly model. Means here all non-collusive models explained in the form of duopoly model. But later it extended to general oligopoly also. And here non-collusive oligopoly models example, Cornett's model, Edgeworth, Bertrand, Stackelberg, Chamberlain. These are non-collusive oligopoly models. Next, monopsony. Mono means single, Sony means buyer. Single buyer in the market. Monopsony means single buyer in the market and many sellers existed. And last one, bilateral monopoly. Under bilateral monopoly, single buyer and single seller in the market. So based on competition, there are various categories of markets, but the markets are classified into two types: perfect competitive market and imperfect competitive market. Perfect competitive market, one model that is perfect competition, and under imperfect competitive models, under imperfect competitive markets, various categories are there: monopoly, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and oligopoly again classified into two categories: collusive models and non-collusive oligopoly models, monopsony and bilateral monopoly.
Last one, on the basis of vision, markets again classified into two categories: black market or invisible markets, and open market or visible markets. Black market, here, which is also known as invisible markets. The goods are not placed in shops, but they are kept in the godowns or some isolated places. Those are not visible in the market. Here, generally, goods are sold or delivered to the buyers on cash. Mainly, here, due to short of supply, here goods are short of supply, which is having high demand. Generally, we find black market. There is rigorous black marketing activity for all these goods during wars, drought, floods, etc. But here black markets are closed markets. Those are not open to anyone. And second feature, open market or visible markets. These are traded between both buyers and sellers, means transactions takes place between buyers and sellers, and the price is determined by two variables, that is demand and supply. Price is determined by both demand and supply. These are formal markets or visible markets which are open to everyone. Now students, let us go for different markets, types of markets. Here how price is determined under different markets. First one, perfect competition. Under perfect competition, here DD is demand curve, SS is supply curve. Where demand is equal to supply at equilibrium position E. At this equilibrium position, OP price and OQ output is determined. So here price is equal to AR is equal to MR at this equilibrium point. Here in perfect competition, uniform price prevails in the market. Uniform price means same price imposed for any number of commodities. So equilibrium of form. Here conditions of equilibrium. There are two important conditions of equilibrium of form. Here any form has to achieve these two equilibrium conditions. First one, here Q1 and Q2, two different levels of equilibrium, two different levels of output. Here at Q1, OP is price and OL1 is output. At Q1, MC is equal to MR, first condition. This is first necessary condition or first order condition. But this is not sufficient condition. Even though the firm achieves this first condition, the firm will not reach equilibrium position. So second one, the firm has to attain equilibrium position means it has to satisfy the second order condition also. So here the firm continuously increases output. Then MC is less than MR and it cuts below MR. This is second necessary condition. So here there are two conditions. First condition is MC is equal to MR. This is not sufficient condition. And the firm has to satisfy the second condition also, that is MC cuts MR from below. Next one, how price is determined under perfect competition. Here, this is supernormal profits of the firm. This is short period. There are, based on time element, there are various periods. Here, short run, in short period, any firm will attain supernormal profits or abnormal profits, normal profits and losses. But in long period, under perfect competition, the firms attain only normal profits because only one reason, that is free entry and free exit. Here, this is short run in short period, the firms attain supernormal profits or abnormal profits in this diagram. This is OP is equilibrium price, OQ is output. Based on this price, AR and MR is equal to price. Here QU is output, P is price. Okay. Average cost, AC is average cost, MC is marginal cost. These are U-shaped curves. And the nature of cost curves already you have learned in microeconomics. Here, why these two curves are in U-shaped? First, as output increases, cost continuously decreases. Beyond the capacity of the firm, output increases, cost also increases. But here again three categories or three types of relationships between AR and MR. So in first relation, AC declines, MC also declines. But second one, MC is equal to AC, and third relationship, AC increases, MC also increases, but it is more than AC. So it is always MC lies above AC. This is very important. Then coming down to this diagram, here this is AC and MC. Cost of production is OC. Okay, and price is PE. This is price. This is cost. Here, revenue minus cost is profits of the firm. This is profits of the firm. Here, total profits of the firm is PE, C, and this much. This block is supernormal profits of the firm because average cost is here, average revenue is here. This is average revenue. So average revenue is more than average cost, supernormal profits. Right? Suppose losses on diagram, I have not given here, but suppose AC is equal to AR, that is the firm attains normal profits. Suppose AC is greater than AR, then the firm will get losses. In long period, under perfect competition, any firm will attain only normal profits due to free entry and free exit. That is very, very important. Next, monopoly. This is another topic. And here, what is the slope of the curves, AR and MR? See in this diagram, output on x-axis and revenue on y-axis. AR and MR, marginal revenue and average revenue slopes downwards from left to right. And AR always lies above MR. Here, the monopolist or single seller wants to increase the price. He will decrease the output. Suppose seller wants to decrease the price, he will increase the output. So the inverse relation between these two variables. That is why the slope of the curves downwards from left to right. This is price determination under monopoly. Here in short period, again the firm will attain either supernormal profits or normal profits or losses. This diagram is supernormal profits or abnormal profits under monopoly in short period. So here OK is output and OE OE is price, OF is cost. Means revenue or cost presented on y-axis, output on x-axis. OK is output and OE is price or revenue. OF is cost. AR and MR slopes downwards from left to right. AC and MC are U-shaped curves, right? Here in this diagram, in this market also, the firm has to satisfy two conditions to attain equilibrium position. MC is equal to MR, MC is equal to MR, MC cuts MR from below. The firm already satisfied these two conditions. Here, OE is price of the firm or revenue of the firm by sale of output, and OF is cost of the product. Then what is the profit of the product? OE minus OF. EF is the profit of the firm. Okay, the overall profits of the firm means here EFLM. EFLM is supernormal profits of the firm. If you assess this diagram like this, you will get supernormal profits also. See here, this is cost line, average cost. This is average revenue line. Suppose AR is more than AC, average revenue is more than average cost, the firm will gain supernormal profits. Suppose average here in this diagram, this is supernormal diagram, supernormal profits diagram or abnormal profits diagram. Suppose let us take normal profits. Their average cost is equal to average revenue. Suppose if you take losses diagram, average cost is more than average revenue. Cost curve is average cost is more than average revenue, that is losses. But in long period under monopoly, the firm attains abnormal profits. What is the reason here? There is no entry and no exit for any firm. That is the only reason. Strict restriction on entry and exit. Next, this is oligopoly. How price and output determination under oligopoly? Here, same output on x-axis, price on y-axis. AR and MR slopes downwards from left to right. AR is demand curve. There is nothing but Kinkard demand curve. MR is marginal revenue curve. Here, the Kinkard demand curve or average revenue curve has two segments. This is one segment. This is another segment. Two parts. Upper part of the Kinkard demand curve is relatively elastic in nature, and lower part of the demand curve is relatively inelastic in nature. Here, upper part of the demand curve is relatively elastic. This is flatter in shape, right? What is the reason? Here in oligopoly, few sellers in the market, few sellers in the market means here one seller wants to increase the price. Other sellers will not react and they will not increase the price. One seller wants to decrease the price. Other sellers will react and they will also decrease the price. So here he wants to increase the price, then he will sell this much output. So the shape of the curve is relatively elastic. Here proportionate change in quantity demanded is more than proportionate change in price. A slight change in price leads to a more change in demand. This concept you have learned in microeconomics, elasticity of demand concept. Then lower part of the demand curve is relatively inelastic. What is the reason here? Here one seller wants to decrease the price. No seller, if one seller wants to decrease the price, other sellers will react and decrease the price. So relatively inelastic in nature. Suppose more here proportionate change in price leads to less change in demand. Okay, but profits will decline. And another important thing here, discontinuous portion of the marginal revenue curve. Here, why it is discontinuous portion? During discontinuous portion of the marginal revenue curve, there is no change in demand and no change in price. Here, no change in quantity demand, whatever may be the cost. When cost increases or decreases, when marginal cost increases or decreases during this portion, MC increases or decreases during this discontinuous portion of the marginal revenue curve, there is no change in output and price. Okay, so there is price rigidity. There is price rigidity, OP does not change. Suppose if MC touches above discontinuous portion like this or like this, then price changes and output also changes. So during this discontinuous portion, whatever may be the cost of production, either cost increases or decreases, price remains constant, output also remains constant, means does not change. This is price rigidity. Okay, this concept is also known as Kinker demand curve or price rigidity. Dear students, this is today's session, classification of agricultural markets. I think you have understood this topic well, and I have given references and go through those references. Otherwise, I'll send study material to your mail. Thank you.